feel your power.
Strike me down.
That was good.
Your journey to the dark side will be complete.
Just you better derail Nathan and I now before it continues.
I think we should just have that be the intro. Like, that's it. So, hey everyone, welcome to Play Some Video Games, the only podcast who has collectively caught more Pidgeys on Pokemon Go than the entire state of California combined.
That's probably no joke. I have a Pidgeot and a Pidgeotto.
I have I had like 20. I keep sacrificing them to the god of Professor Willow, who grinds them up and makes them into candy to feed my Pidgeys. No. But anyway, so yes, it's I, your host, Kevin. I am apparently somewhere in the time warp zone. So if we kind of cut out, get a little weird, you know why. With us this week, we have Donnie, and of course, Jason is here with us this week. And then Nathan, it's been so long. I mean, I've been looking for my Nathan. Wait. Okay. If this is where it has to happen, then this is where it has to happen. I'm not letting you get rid of me. How about that? This used to be my specialty, you know. I was good in the living room. They'd send me in there, and I do it alone, and now But tonight, our little project, our company, we had a big night, a very, very big night. But it wasn't complete, not nearly close to being in the same vicinity as complete, because I could have not been able to share it with you. I couldn't hear your voice or laugh about it with you. I miss you, Nathan. I miss my Nathan. We live in a cynical world where we work in a business of tough competitors. I love you, Nathan. You complete me. I just had...
Shut up. You had me at hello. You had me at hello.
It just feels right. So if you're still listening at this point, you know, we'd like to apologize, but it's been a while since Nathan and I have been able to podcast together. So Nathan, why don't we throw it to you? How have you been? What have you been up to?
Oh, I've been okay. I've actually got some gaming in for this week, so everybody should be excited about me actually hooking up my Xbox, right? Right? Oh, okay. So I hooked up my Xbox, and what did I play? I played one of the very first games available on the Xbox, and that was Rise, Son of Rome. So, anyway.
I like that game.
You've played it?
Yeah, Rise, Son of Rome's good.
Yeah, it's a great game. I saw one of my friends getting achievements in it, and I was like, hey, I have that game, and it's not a big game, you know, compared to like Arkham Knight or something like that.
I think that's what I liked about it.
Yes, it's small, it's short, pretty simple, it looks good, and so I was
compact.
like, yeah. And so I downloaded that to my Xbox because my hard drive was nowhere to be found at the moment, so downloaded it, started playing some of that, played some multiplayer with my buddy, and we got some achievements knocked out, and I had fun. That's the only game other than Pokemon Go that I've been playing, but I'm sure we'll talk more about
not
that.
You too.
You gotta, you know, here's the thing. When somebody says, hey, check this out, it's kind of cool, and you're in a position where you're like, well, I kind of talk about video games every week, so let me see what this is all about. You feel like you have a need inertly to check it out.
To the listener.
But it's one of those things where I haven't played it a lot. There's a lot of people that are like a higher level than I am for sure. But it's fun. But all I catch are like Rattatas and Pidgeots and whatever you call them. It's just, I wish there was more of a variety around here. Like but around here, like right now is just like Weedles and Caterpies and Rattatas. And I think it's because I live near like a cornfield. And so I think they're racial profiling, but not really racial profiling, but what's it called when you profile based on an area?
Discriminate? I don't know.
Demo?
Maybe. Profiling.
Pokefiling, yes. So
just Pokemon demographics.
Yeah, there you go. But anyway, it's been fun because I actually got a chance, like I said, to play some actual proper console games. With Rise. It was 2013 in November, the last time I got an achievement in that game. So there's been about 3 years since I played it last, but it's a fun little play. If you guys haven't ever played it, it's not bad. It's worth. I think it was recently on sale at the Ultimate Game Sale for like $10. So it's definitely worth that, or a rental, whatever you want to do, because you can complete it easily within a weekend. But anyway, that's me, and back to you.
Awesome.
Throwback.
Jason, let's throw it to you then.
Nothing. Really. I don't know what the deal is. Just living really. I took a week off from podcasting last week, and that was kind of fun. Just to not do that, and I haven't really played any games or anything. I mean, yeah, really, nothing. I've watched some movies.
What movies did you watch, Jason?
I finally watched The Martian.
That's a great movie.
I also enjoyed that movie. It was really good.
I watched Whiplash.
Ooh,
I haven't seen that yet.
What
did you think of Whiplash?
It's intense. I enjoyed it. Like I really loved and was in jazz band in high school, and so I've played a lot of that music. I've always liked jazz, and then man, just freaking that performance by
Not to completely make fun of you, but you did kind of sound like a Will Ferrell line. It was intense. I played a lot of jazz band in high school.
What?
A jazz flute from Anchorman.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I just got a lot of that.
Stand-up bass is fucking F-bomb is amazing. So
yeah.
I love it. I feel like we watched something else. We tried a new Netflix series today, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. Was it Marcella or something like that?
Is it new? Like just came out?
Yeah, it's like one of their new ones. The premise sounded cool. Like she's a detective returning to her craft, but has the serial killer also returned as well? You know? But that first episode will be the only episode we watch. My wife loves everything UK and British, and this is a British production, and we will not be traveling down the road.
Have you watched Luther?
No, I haven't ever watched Luther.
She'd probably like it. It's very good, and it's UK. I think that's really... Idris Elba's the main character.
Yeah. I want to watch that new, was it Stranger Things that they just released as well? I think today, I think, is that new. It's like an 8-episode show. I know Winona Ryder's in it. Reason I heard of it is when I went and saw a movie in the theater, they had a trailer for it, or a commercial at least, and it totally feeds on 80s nostalgia of all those. It's got like that small town vibe, similar to what the kids from Derry in It or Salem's Lot, and it's got that, or like what was that one JJ and Spielberg film?
Super 8.
Yeah, Super 8. It's got that same type of the feeling to it, the supernatural about a group of kids and everything. So looks really interesting. So I want to check that out, but not really much gaming. I don't know why. I just haven't felt the bug, I guess. I've had Mario Maker for a while. I've played it for 15 minutes.
Do you do the special event courses?
No, I haven't done any. The only course I've done actually, the Discord group that I'm a part of, they have a good library of levels that they've made, and this one guy has one that's called P-Switch Nightmare, and it is a lesson in horror and self-depreciation and frustration. I mean, it's a brutally hard stage, and
you should put some of that stuff up like on the site.
I will. I can do that.
Awesome.
Oddly enough, he had posted in our chat. He had posted someone who has the current world record on it. Making it through in like a couple minutes. So I had watched that, not knowing I was going to get the game later that day. I was like, oh, okay, I kind of know how to do this. No, I don't. I made it through like maybe a quarter of the level, dying like several times.
You didn't even try the World Championship courses?
No. I had to go somewhere, so I had to take off real quick that day that I was playing it. And
okay. I'm sorry. I see. Like you just got it.
Yeah. Well, no. I got it like 2 weeks ago, but I've only just played it the one time.
Okay. I got you. You have to complete their little solo mode first.
Yeah, I want to at least do that. I have the game for 5 more days, I think. So.
Yeah, it's they're not like Mario courses, so it's more like Mario lessons. Like each level has like a trick to it, and it teaches you the trick, and that's it. So like most of those levels, if you know the trick, you can literally get through the level in like 15 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's more or less just like, here's the trick. It's more like, I think their whole idea behind it was let's demonstrate how a function in a Mario course can happen to kind of get you thinking about how you build your own courses.
Okay.
And then at the end, you get these 3 ridiculously hard courses to try and go through.
I did finish Box Boy finally, so I'm probably going to move on to like I have aspirations to kind of play through all the Humble Bundle games that came in on 3DS. So I think I've sort of played like what is that Rhythm Thief? I think.
Rhythm Thief.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
I've done like 2 levels in that, and then I'll probably start finally Citizens of Earth. And to go through that because Shantae and the Pirate's Curse was the first game I got through, and then
I love that game.
on through those. So, it's all step in the process, and that's really it. Nothing too exciting. I just I mean, I guess it is exciting, but I've just been doing other things, not playing video games.
Living life. All right. So, what is going on in the world of Donnie then?
Donnie is coming to you live from Franklin, Tennessee, where I will be attending the Married to the Games cast episode 200 live show tomorrow. Pretty special, 200 episodes for any podcast. I believe the majority of us here met in their community and decided to start PSVG together. So I'm very excited to be here and partake in the community and the celebration. And they have a great community. We have a lot of crossover. So I'm happy to be here representing the PSVG clan. Just still trying to come up with a really good Nintendo question to stump them on tomorrow. So I have
to put some
thought. Yeah, you can ask them anything about Nintendo, and they're not going to know what to answer. Sorry, Chris, if you're listening.
Who manufactures Nintendo?
I won't do that on their special day, but I'm having a lot of fun. There's Jeff Swan is here in the hotel. There's a lot of people picked the hotel that I chose, actually, and they're trying to get a Smash event together after our podcast, like or tonight or tomorrow night. Yeah. So
why don't you call them on? You should be like, hey, if they walk by, or get them down there.
It's funny you said that. I was sitting here, and Brian Walden has been texting me all day, and we've been trying to hook up. He was at Starbucks, and when I went there, he had left, and I went to Target, and then he went to dinner, and I was sitting here getting set up. I'm in the business center, which I should say. So I'm going to try to keep it quiet as much as I can because I don't want to impose on everybody down here. But I didn't want to podcast from the room because my mic would pick up the air conditioning and my wife wants to watch TV and everything. So I'm down here in the business center, kind of sitting in the dark, podcasting. Everybody's looking at me like I'm a weirdo. Nobody has ever seen a Blue Yeti before, Nathan. They think I have a weapon of mass destruction or something.
Well, it is a weapon of mass destruction, man. If you don't know how to handle your voice, it could cause some destruction.
There you go. So I'm sitting here and I'm literally like getting set up and we get started and I turn around and Brian walks right by me. And I'm like, I muted my mic and I'm like, Brian, hey, like I'm trying to scream but not scream. And I texted him, but I guess he didn't see the text. So maybe they might call in. So if I mute and all of a sudden come back with voices, we may have guests. But yeah, the MTG community is swarming around the hotel, and we're all here having a good time. In terms of video games this week, man, I tell you, I got lost in a game on Monday. Yep, long day Monday. Came home, had a drink, had dinner, was enjoying the evening, took a shower, sat down, turned on the PlayStation 4. It's probably about 11 o'clock. I decided, I was like, you know what, I'm going to dive into that library tile at the end. It's the one thing that I feel like I don't like most about the PS4 is I constantly forget how many games are in my library. And every now and again, I'll be like, oh yeah, I have more games than, the 10 or so that display here. So I clicked over there and I forgot that I bought Infamous Second Son, which I've already beaten. Bought it when it came out. I'm a huge fan of the Infamous series. And I really love that game. I hate the story. The story's terrible, but the gameplay it's really good. I mean, it's just a lot of fun to play. And I bought it on disc when it came out, and then I traded it in after I beat it, and I bought it on sale or something, really cheap. And I booted it up, and I was like, I'm just going to play through the intro. And then I didn't put the game down until like 3 a.m., and I had a really bad day at work the next day. Those are one of those games I can get lost in, and I did, and I really, really enjoyed it. On the website this week, shameless plug, I dropped a PlayStation Vue review, which I'm still having a lot of fun with. It's kind of the family, like we're getting reconnected to a lot of sitcom and TV and live sports. I watched the Indians live for the first time in what feels like years because they don't get a lot of national attention, and really enjoying that service. So we did a mini podcast with Coach Mo, and then I wrote up an in-depth article, and we posted both those to the site. And we'll continue to pump them, but if anybody's listening to the show, if you're interested in what PlayStation Vue has to offer to your TV and streaming devices, definitely go give it a check. I also played some Super Mario Maker Played it with the kids. We also played some Splatoon, and that's about it. Really, Infamous was the one that I dove into the most this week. Yeah, just trying to make sure before I pass it off. But yeah, that's it.
Alrighty. Well, for me, as I said last week, I was going to wrap up Dishonored, and I did. Had a ton of fun with that game. Can't wait for the sequel now that I've finally beaten the game. Definitely just went the route of not trying to sneak around, trying to see how much chaos I could actually cause deliberately instead. So had a blast with that. And then I dove into Saints Row 4 Reelected, the remaster on the PS4. God, I forgot how fun those games are. They're just so absurd and they, very tongue in cheek that it just makes it so much fun. So I'm having a blast with that. Having revisited it now, I did play a little bit on the PS3 when it first came out. Definitely runs way better on the PS4. Haven't had any issues, although I did read some other people had issues online, but I haven't run into anything wrong with it so far. It plays kind of similar to Infamous Second Son, though. Like, you unlock powers. Your character's basically, they're making fun of the Matrix movie. So you're locked in a computer program and you start to realize how you can hack it and get abilities. So you can, jump blocks and blocks and blocks, and you can run like the Flash. So it's very cool. Having a ton of fun with that. So I played both the DLC packs last night, actually, before I went back to the main quest this morning. But one was themed. It was how the Saints saved Christmas, which was a whole Christmas themed episode, which was kind of ridiculous. But you're in like the North Pole and Santa's workshop and fighting elves in an evil version of Santa Claus to help the real Santa Claus. And then there was another one that was basically outtakes from the game. They kind of portrayed the game as being a movie. So these were like deleted scenes and parts that they kind of put back into the game, but they do it in like a documentary format. So they're interviewing your game characters in between scenes. So it's a lot of fun. It's very funny. I really hope that they announce a new one soon, because I'm going to get through this and then want to jump back into it. So it's kind of fun having, playing a game that I don't have to take too serious for once. So having fun with that. But other than that, that's been pretty much it for me. I might move on to... I don't know what I'm going to move on to next after this. I think I'll be playing it for a little bit because I think I'm only like halfway through, maybe if that. So that's it for me. So let's talk about the listeners then. And it's time to dive into the mailbag. Message for you, son. Okay, so on Facebook, our first question comes from Josh, and Josh is one of our actually very first listeners, and I also want to shout out that today's your birthday, so happy birthday, Josh. And he has a question for us. He has the next 2 weeks off from work, and he doesn't have any solid plans at all. Which games do you guys think he should try and play through in this 2 week period? So let's throw it to Nathan first.
Kevin, what's he playing on?
Yeah,
he has all the systems now. He has Xbox One, he has PS4, and he has a Wii U. So he's open to anything, just not handheld. I don't think he has a DS as far as I know.
So then my question would be, does he want to play one game in this time frame, or does he try to get as many as complete as many as possible?
He put game/game, so I think he's open up to either, whatever you suggest.
Well, obviously, Witcher 3.
I knew that was coming.
And then if you want a little bit of variety in there, some Forza Horizon 2. And then maybe for a little bit of relaxation, some Peggle 2.
Ooh, throwing in the Peggle. Jason, how about you?
Let's see. I got nothing good. I mean,
fantastic commentary, Jason.
I got nothing I can't comment on what would be worthwhile to play on a system I don't own. And I can't think of anything that'd be fun to play on the system I do own. So.
What about the game you've been playing on PC that's also available multi-platform?
I guess you could play Overwatch.
Hey,
I guess if he had to. I mean, if he was forced.
I've had not a lot of fun with that game lately. All of a sudden they patched it and I can barely even play it.
Oh, really?
I'm getting random frame drops. It takes me forever to... I've seen people actually on consoles have the same issue where it takes forever to load into the game, and by the time you get disconnected for being inactive before your game actually loads in.
And all that came from the patch?
Yeah, and then the best that I had is when I finally did load in, none of the character models loaded, so I couldn't see... I could play. I mean, I couldn't see my
did you get that on
my
Twitch?
gun or anything. No. And then, but I couldn't see any of the enemies, and there were no sound effects. And then I would just get killed by ghosts. And then as I kept playing, like certain particle effects would load in, so I could see like grenades or certain shots. And then eventually the game, loaded and it's fine. But it's just been very, very frustrating. It's been
That sounds like disastrously.
Yeah, past week and a half.
funny.
It's been doing that. But that's not happened to everyone. So still a good game. They released a new character too. So.
All right, Donnie, what do you got for suggestions here?
I'm gonna assume, since he owns all the games, that he's a pretty avid gamer and has played most of the highlights. But if you haven't played The Last of Us or like Halo 5 and those big games, then you should. Witcher 3 I would include in there.
Speaking of, Last of Us, $8 on PSN.
There you go. But I'm going to assume he's already played these. If he owns all those consoles, he's probably hit those big exclusives. So I'm going to try to reach down and get something he's probably not played. And I'm going to go with Yoshi's Woolly World for Wii U. It's a beautiful game. I believe because of its early release in Japan and Europe, like 6 months earlier than we got when it finally came out in the States. There was very little fanfare because anybody that really wanted to play it already got their hands on it. And most of the review sites have had it for months, so it didn't really hit with a bang. But that doesn't stop the game from being really, really good, and it is really, really good. It has a lot of polish. It's really fun platformer, collectathon. So if he's got all the consoles to include the Wii U, if he hasn't got to that one, I'd throw that one there. I want to throw a PlayStation game in there. I'm just trying to think of what's one of those really good PlayStation games that's kind of fell below the cracks. If you haven't played SteamWorld Dig, definitely do it. It's on PS4. It's great. And then I would say maybe Helldivers, which is really addictive. It's one of those games where you could really fall down a rabbit hole and really play it. Like you could really get, a good 4 or 5 days out of that game if you really commit to it.
All right, then. Josh, I'm going to throw you the one I'm playing right now, and I say pick up some Saints Row. You can get the remaster for PS4 or Xbox One, along with the Gat Out of Hell standalone DLC pack. For it's $20 at full retail right now, so you can probably get it for like $10 used or something like that. I know I have seen some sales pop up on both Xbox and PSN network, so I say pick that up. You don't have to think about it. I at the rate I'm going, I think I could beat the whole thing in 2 weeks. So I imagine you could if you have no set plans or anything going on. Other than that, I say download some retro games and kind of play some favorites overall. Maybe some sports games are good kind of summer time killers. And then a regular old-fashioned board game night. You can't beat that. Get some friends over, play some board games. You can never go wrong with that too. So I say take it easy. You got 2 weeks off. You've earned it. Don't play anything hardcore. Just have some fun with your gaming over the next 2 weeks and just enjoy it. So that's my advice. Donnie, do you have any questions over from the Twitter sphere?
Good friend Eric Green writes, if you could experience getting one console for the first time again, which one would you choose?
Ooh. All right, let's throw it to Jason first.
All right, so the later consoles, I was like there when they were purchased, so there's not that excitement around there, and it's like I kind of remember going to the store and like looking at the NES under like the glass. I feel like it was at like a Sears or something like that. It was and looking at it under the glass case. And then like I feel like I was with my aunt, and then we brought it home, and I tried to ask my mom one time, how did we get that? And she's like, I don't remember. I was like, oh, well, that's no fun. So for me, like the one that was the most exciting that I remember just being the most pumped about, it was like I want to say probably either somewhere between 10 or 12th birthday, and I got the Genesis with Sonic 2 bundled in, and that was like the greatest birthday of my childhood. That was like my Nintendo 64 kid, moment. Was getting the Genesis. So I remember I just wanted one for the longest time, and then got that, and yeah, had Sonic 2 bundled in, which was a fantastic game for me. And I played. I mean, I would say I think I probably spent more time with my Genesis than I did my NES. A lot of fond memories with both systems, but that definitely at least attached to the moment that was the most exciting and most memorable, which for me was getting that console.
Nice. Donnie, how about you?
I'll tell you which one I wouldn't do, and that's the Wii U. I know it's the antithesis of the question, but it's a good story. The one I would do is probably the Wii, because I had so much fun with the Wii because there was so much hype around it. I was one of those folks that stood in really long lines and got
I
it.
was gonna ask if you
Yeah,
did that.
had all my family, and it was like so revolutionary. We played Wii Sports for like days. It was like such a big ordeal. So when the Wii was finally released and announced, and we were expecting it, I had my daughter, and she was just really getting into gaming. I think she's maybe 5. Is about right. And I kept telling my wife, I was like, you don't understand. This is Nintendo's next console. It's going to be huge. Like, we're going to have to wait in line. I took the day off. I prepped my daughter. We had plans. We went to IHOP and got breakfast and everything. We went to GameStop and there was nobody there. They let us in early. They were like, oh, you're here to get that thing? Oh, come on in. And we were like, you don't open till 11. They're like, nobody's going to come.
Whoa.
It was like the most anticlimactic thing ever. My wife teased me for days. She's like, "Oh, you have to wait in line. It's be such a big deal, isn't it?" So those are my my 2 yin and yang stories for you.
And I always wondered this day if I would have followed through, because in my area you couldn't get one. Like, they were just never in stock, and then like you did have to wait in line to get one. And I'm not Grand Rapids is like, it's a bigger city, but we're by no means like largely metropolitan or anything like that. So my history could have been altered forever.
All right, Nathan, what about you? What's your console you'd like to relive your getting your sweaty little palms on?
I think,
It's gonna be the Wii U, isn't it, Nathan?
No. So the ones I look back for with fond memory are definitely like the PlayStation 2, because I got that at launch day, and I was able to get it at launch day for one thing, when a lot of my friends couldn't because they didn't pre-order it or anything. But that was a fun time because I was able to play some games that night, and it just looked so good, so revolutionary. And I played DVDs, and I was like, oh, this is the future, and it was great. But I think I would go back, and if I could re-experience getting like a Nintendo 64 again, honestly, because I look back at that, and the Nintendo 64 that I have to this day is the only one we ever owned, and my brother bought it, and I can't remember what store we got it from or when. I just remember going to the store with him and looking at the box, and it had Stormtroopers on it because of the Shadows of the Empire, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. I'd like to go back and revisit that because it's just so foggy to me. I mean, honestly, I think that's the first console that I ever was involved in, getting, as far as owning one that wasn't like a hand-me-down. My Game Boy, the original Game Boy I had, was a hand-me-down from my brother. His Game Gear was a hand-me-down. But the Nintendo 64 was his, and I was with him when he got it. And it was just super exciting, being with him. Getting the system, first brand new system, the box, taking it home, hooking it up, and just, I can't even remember what game we got. I think if GoldenEye was available, we probably got that, and if Star Wars was available, we probably got that. But I can't remember what else we would have gotten because it's just been so long ago, and I really would love to go back and relive it and have those memories because, I can't remember what our first gaming experience was. I know that he bought a controller, or I bought a controller because I saved up some money for it. And I remember I bought a Rumble Pack that was a third-party Rumble Pack and it had a red light on it. And that was the first Rumble Pack we had, but he'd often steal it and use it on his controller because, it was his system, so, and I'd wind up with the memory card in mine.
Did you always get stuck with the Mad Catz controller then?
No, there was a Nintendo controller for sure. We had a gray one and a black one. The black one we bought secondary. The gray one came with it. But I don't remember what game it came with. It was probably a Donkey Kong game. There was a banana cover that we had for the Nintendo 64 controller. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, I remember the banana one.
I'm going to look it up.
I do. I remember that.
There's this little thing that you just like slide up over. It's like neoprene or something like that.
Yeah.
The Nintendo 64, honestly, if I could go back and re-experience getting a console again and just, reliving the excitement and recapturing, the memories, it'd be 64.
That thing's ridiculous looking.
Isn't it? It's hilarious.
I to be honest with you, I'm glad you said it. It makes my heart warm to hear you say that. Last week I mentioned we just bought, probably our 8th or 9th version of one. We seem to get one every few years, and we've had a lot of fun as a family just sitting down and playing some of the old games on it. I tell you, my kids don't take well to that controller at all.
Yeah. I used to be that controller. I liked it when you played with GoldenEye or something like that, and I loved the stick. And you're like, oh, the stick's amazing because that was the first console with a stick, right? Well,
yeah.
Other than like Atari, the old
first analog stick.
Yeah, first analog stick. I forgot that you had to like walk with the C buttons.
Yeah,
that's jarring with the C buttons.
Yeah,
and if you did it right, you could walk super fast, like double speed, because it would take both your front and your side motions and put them together. And that's how I would always walk in GoldenEye. I was like strafing everywhere.
Oh yeah,
that brings back some good memories. I mean, I got my Nintendo 64 downstairs, and I think I have GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. I want Star Fox, but I mean those are some good memories playing those games, especially GoldenEye. Playing split screen 4-player GoldenEye back in the heyday. That was
oh yeah.
That's my best gaming memories, honestly. With friends come over, and obviously there's gonna be the screen cheats. Oh, you cheated! Don't look at my screen. Like you stand up and you try to cover your screen so nobody else sees it. Those were the good days, man. I mean, kids these days, they'll never know. They'll never know co-op play anymore. You know what I mean? Screen sharing is gone for the most part, except Nintendo still has a few available things, but for the most part, there is no split screen anymore.
Let me ask you a question related to that topic. If you have a multiplayer game in VR, does that count as screen sharing? Like if you're both seeing the same environment over your eyes?
You mean you're both in your own little VR world, but you're sitting next to each other?
Even if you're not sitting next to each other, like I almost feel like you could feel like you're together. Like you could feel like you're next to each other, even if you're far away. No. Because of the experience of VR makes you feel like it's present.
No, because I can't punch somebody for looking at my screen.
Yep, no shoving, no nothing.
You need that physical interaction.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
Because I mean, you can look at them, laugh at them, and just you have a great conversation. Because I feel like I play games with Mo and everybody all the time on Xbox, and you can talk to them. They're really clear in your ear, talking to you, and you can play a game, and they can be right next to you, and it feels like they're next to you. I mean, that's kind of the same experience you get with VR. But to me, couch co-op is like being able to look at the person next to you, have a joke, just kind of chat, and you're looking at the same screen, you're sitting on the same couch. There's a different energy that comes with that.
I love smacking the controller out of my kids' hands when we're playing Smash. Like when they're about to get the Smash ball, you just slap the controller out and then.
Yeah, and there's something to be said too, like with Mario Kart or something, because my nieces and nephews, they come over and usually I'll put on Mario Kart or was it
Nintendo Land?
No, not Nintendo Land. There's a Super Mario game that was like multiplayer.
Super Mario 3D World.
That's it. So they'll play one of those two games, and just watching them play. I mean, the oldest one I think is 8 of that set, and it's from 3 to 8 years old. Watching them be able to play together, brothers and sisters, it makes me happy. I'm not playing; I'm just watching them, but it just makes me happy that they're enjoying it and being able to see them play with each other, and just try to help each other with the controls, or maybe not. It's just one of those. It's great to be able to sit back and watch that as an uncle. I don't have kids yet, but I'm an uncle, so whenever they come over, it's fun. I mean. Sometimes they'll say, play Smash Brothers with us or something like that. And I'm like, reluctantly, I say, okay, but I'm not going to hold back. But I'll usually choose like random characters and play horribly anyway, because I'm not as good as I used to be, for sure.
Not as good as you used to be. Back in my day,
we used to have to use the C stick.
Yeah, I played Smash Brothers with a wiggly knob and a C buttons. So for me, I don't know what it is with us, but we kind of all have the same theme going on. For me, I'm going to go back, and it's one that I don't remember that well, and that was when I got my NES, the first one. So I have a photo of it, so I know it happened, and I remember playing it. I just don't remember the actual feeling I had when I had it in my hands. I was like, oh my God, But I was very young. I was either maybe 6 or 7, I think, at the time when I got it. And my 2 of my uncles also got it at the same time, and they were in their like mid-20s at the point. So I just remember they used to get really mad at me because we would play like Double Dribble or Blades of Steel, and I would completely kick their ass. And they're like, how was this kid beating us? At their age thing. So I remember I have those memories, but I don't remember getting my hands on it. Prior to the NES, I had a hand-me-down used Atari console that I would game on. So I had some gaming experience prior, but I mean the jump from Atari to Nintendo was pretty significant. So it was just like a whole new game. ironically enough. But yeah, I got an Atari I picked up at a yard sale, I think really cheap with like, and I had at least like 30, 40 different Atari games. I had a pretty extensive library, but then got the NES controller in my hand and was like, oh my God, this is so much better. And it's been all downhill from there. So I would like to go back and kind of get that feeling of opening the box. It was Christmas. I remember that, like just tearing into that box and looking at it. I'd like to be able to relive that, where it all started.
You might be able to this November.
Oh, we'll get to that later. But yes, you're 100% right. So that actually will close up the mailbag so we can move on to the main event, which we're going to talk a little nostalgia. So that last question was very timely there. And we're going to talk, Nintendo unveiled this week that they will have the, hold on, timeout. Timeout. Does anybody have the press release near them or anything like that to kind of describe what the console is?
They've got the whole website up now.
Cool. I'm going to throw it to you in a second then, Jason. We'll kind of rewind back a little bit and I'll throw it to you.
Hang on a second, guys.
Uh-oh.
I should have told my GameCube story. I forgot that was a good collection item too.
Hey, nice to meet you. What's going on, brother? Come on, man.
Oh, there's man love going on in there.
It's got love between two guys.
You guys want to come say hi? Sorry, we're right in the middle of the podcast. We literally, I just like froze.
We can leave you alone.
Yeah, man. But you guys could say hi. Folks, we got a whole MTG community drop in. You guys gonna go play Smash?
We can.
I saw. I don't know. Is that what you guys are doing?
We can. Yeah. It's up in my room.
We can. You have no plans. Nice.
No plans.
Plans? What are plans?
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Whatever.
Cool.
When are you gonna be done doing this?
I'll tweet. I'll
Why don't you
tweet
send
guys.
us a message?
Okay.
that, man.
I'll send you guys a message.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go, man.
Awesome.
And we're back.
So who was that?
That was a pile of people.
Oh.
I just hear these knocks on the window, and that's why I'm glad you said freeze.
No.
And I turn around and there's like 6 people behind me, and they're all like
geez.
waving and stuff. So it was
popular.
it was Brian and Eric and somebody who I think I'm supposed to know because I shook his hand and was like, "What's your name?" And he was like, "Dude." And I was like, I don't know who you are.
You're like, your name's Dude?
His name's John.
The Dude abides.
So yeah,
That's a good indication when you're supposed to know someone if they look at you and go, "What the?"
So yeah, I had to deal with that, but I'm back. We're good to go.
Okay. All right. So I'll pick up from after that. Close the mess break. So our main topic this week is we're going to talk a little bit about nostalgia. So that question we had was very timely there, and we're going to throw it to the news that Nintendo had a little surprise announcement for us. Jason, why don't you take it and talk about what that announcement was?
Yeah. So, out of like nowhere, Nintendo tweets this at bright and early. Was it Thursday morning that dropped?
Yeah, I think so.
I think, and it was just like at first I saw people like quotes to the tweet and like, "Oh, I'm buying this." So,
Came out of nowhere.
I'm like, I see this picture. I'm like, "Oh, well, this is just some photoshopped scheme again." And I read into it, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is real. This is actually a viable product." So Nintendo announced the NES Classic Edition, a retro blast from the past, which is they actually have the website up now. I'm hearing rumors too that pre-orders are going to be up at least in the UK shortly. I'm not sure about North America yet, but it is a miniature. I'm not sure what the scale is, but it's a miniaturized version of the original NES, complete with the power light and the reset buttons. Only the difference you'll see on the front is instead of the original, plug-in connectors that the NES uses, we see similar to what the Pro controllers use on the Wii. And it is Pro controller compatible, actually. So it plugs directly into your television via HDMI. It comes with one classic NES controller, the HDMI cable, an AC adapter, and 30 pre-installed games.
Boom.
Which is, I mean, I've seen people talk about, Genesis. Sega did this, I think, last year with a Genesis Mini that actually would play cartridges as well. So that's the one keynote there, and I had 80 games on it. So I've heard some people kind of crying about the game number, but this is retails for $59.99. So for HDMI compatibility and these 30 games, I'm all over that because NeoGAF did the math, and I think to own all these, and I posted this on an article on the site too, it's like $590. something like that. It would cost you to own all of these, so well worth the money. But the highlights of the games that we have here: Balloon Fight, Bubble Bobble, Castlevania, Donkey Kong, Double Dragon 2, Excite Bike, Final Fantasy, Kirby's Adventure, Mega Man 2, all 3 Super Mario Brothers, Punch Out, Tecmo Bowl, Zelda 1 and 2. I mean, there's some awesome games in there. November 11th, 2016 is our release date. And you can also get the classic NES controller separately for $9.99. So you can get couch co-op again. I mean, if I only wish I had Blades of Steel on here, because then I'm sure I'm going to get this anyway. But Buddy Lucas and I love playing Blades of Steel. I don't know why. It's probably because it's hockey, and because I own him in that game.
And it's amazing.
It is amazing. I mean, those
music, fights.
Fights.
So I have one question for you, Jason.
Yes.
My TV doesn't really have those inputs anymore that the original NES had. Mm-hmm. Has it been modernized to accept my newer TV standard, you could call it, for inputs?
It's got HDMI.
Good.
And I can only think that, we're going to be playing, I'm sure this is all stored on some sort of flash memory, and these are, I would assume, some sort of souped up emulation.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the worst part is, like I have an NES still. I have my GameCube. I have a Genesis, but I really only have one television I can even play any of those on, because if I try to play, for instance, I have Mega Man Anniversary Collection and Mega Man X Collection on GameCube. I'm like, oh, I want to play Mega Man. Well, if I hook it up to my large television, it's got like probably, I don't know what the exact how much input lag there is, but for Mega Man, forget about it. It's not gonna happen. So I only have this small, like maybe not even a 15-inch. It's a flat screen TV, but for whatever reason, it doesn't have any delay, so I can actually play such games. So just for that fact that I can hook it up to a modern television, and I can just play it, that holds immense value.
Mm-hmm.
Just to use a plug and play,
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, honestly. I mean, like you said, Sega did it before, recently, but this NES thing, it screams Black Friday sale to me. You know what I mean? Kind of because they're releasing it on November 11th. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
So it's one of those things where I guarantee you go to like a Best Buy or somewhere on Black Friday and at least be $10 off or something. But yeah, this is definitely something that I would probably want to get, because I never owned an original NES, and the game library on this setup looks really good. Like, I would play through the Super Mario Brothers games. I would play through the Mega Man game, the Zelda game for sure. There's 2 of them, but I would play through the Legend of Zelda at least. And yeah. I think it's an awesome idea. Like, I heard people are kind of scoffing at it, like you said, and like, the games, whatever. I think it's great.
Yeah, and it's gonna have save states too, so you don't have to worry about, you can just save the game, shut it off. Don't have to worry about that, which will make it a lot easier to get through these games. And if you pull up the website, even it's totally aiming at anyone that kind of grew up with the system. Like, the website just screams nostalgia. Like the box art for this system looks just like I'm pretty sure it's a recreation of what the NES came packaged in.
Yeah, I think it is too. It screams early Nintendo Power days too. Like, just it has that vibe.
The interesting thing is at the very bottom of the site, after they, with the legal jargon and all the other links, there's classics, and it's got the Nintendo controller logo. So I wonder if this is a new line that we're going to see more of down the road, of these Nintendo classics. Like, if they give me a Super NES style of this next year, because I never owned a Super NES. I had several friends, so I played numerous games for that and emulation. I'd be all over that in a heartbeat, because it's one of my choices. I'm kind of disappointed over the years, because I wish I would have had a Super NES. And sometimes I think about, I just go online, I surf and check prices, and I'm always like, maybe I'm going to buy one of those. But
they gave you Super NES emulation on your 3DS.
Yeah, but I mean,
this is different.
That's on my 3DS. This is different when I can sit down and play like games with a buddy. I mean, like, I can't wait to play Double Dragon 2 with Lucas.
Let me see. I got you.
Plus
Stuff
the,
like
o-
that.
the other thing that's huge for me. This is definitely a must buy for me. It comes out on my birthday. Hint, hint. If anyone wants to mail one in, I won't say no. The biggest thing for me is, I've had complaints before about having to rebuy my Nintendo Classics over and over and over again. This is the exception because it's its own console, so I will be able to use it later on. I don't need to worry about it. And the thing I want, the biggest thing for me is like, yes, I know you can go online, you can download ROMs and emulators and play all this stuff for free if you want. That controller. I want to play it on that controller. I've played it on emulator, controllers. It's not the same. I want that nostalgic feel. So I am 100% on board. They do a Super Nintendo one, even better, whatever. I'm all in on this. I think it's a great deal, but there's a lot to be said with having those controllers, playing with somebody else right next to you, and just reliving that again. And like I said, it may miss the mark completely. Like if we have a teenage kid who just started gaming a few years ago and their first console was like a PS3 or an Xbox 360, this isn't for them. They're going to get it maybe and be like, what the hell is this, kind of thing. If for us, at our ages growing up with this kind of stuff, this is great. Like I am all in on this. I think it's a great idea. Nintendo, once again, pulling on the nostalgia heartstrings, but it works for them. So why stop at that point? So, Donnie, what are your thoughts about this?
I mean, I was more shocked by it. The announcement was, so quiet. I don't think anybody expected anything like this at all. For them to have hardware that's coming, and I know it's not like anything amazing, but just even hardware in general, especially with all the leaks that they've had over the last year. I thought it was pretty impressive they were able to just drop something like this. I think it's a neat design. If anything, I think it's going to be like really popular for like that hipster crowd, which most of us gamers like kind of fall into. It's going to be very cool thing to throw in your entertainment center. Look at this, I got this old Nintendo console and it works and we can play multiplayer and we got these motes that can plug into things, and the game list looks really good. I don't think it's for me because I own most of the games already. That was really my thing with this. I own most of these games on virtual console somewhere.
Donnie, you're going to buy one. Don't even try to say you're not.
To be honest with you, I'm not.
You're going to buy one.
No, no, I'm not.
You're going to get one as a Christmas present. That's what's
right
going to be happening.
And I'll tell you why.
He's going to trade stuff in and get it for free.
Oh, wow.
Technically buying it.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. Guys, I'm really not. The NES is not my thing. I was introduced really to Nintendo on the Super NES, and I've tried to play some of these NES games, and most of them I don't like. Like Nathan, you said, I'm going to go back and play The Legend of Zelda. That's a tall task.
I'm not going to go back and
Zelda
play it.
fan.
I
That's one
play
of
it
the
for
hardest
the first
Zelda
time.
games to play, man. That thing doesn't age well, in my opinion.
Played it on the DS. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, part 2 is far worse though. I'll take part
that's
1 over
true.
part 2.
I was
any day
watching
of the
that
week.
during the Summer Games Done Quick speed runs, watching those guys just rush through that game, and I don't know how you play that game legitly. It's so confusing with like how it has the leveling up and everything. It's
Exactly. And there's some amazing games on it, right? So you got like Mario, Metroid's on it, right? Mega Man's
Metroid,
on it.
Star Tropics.
Pac-Man's on it, right?
Yeah, Pac-Man.
And then Punch Out. And the one that caught my eye that I remember is what's that game that Kevin likes?
Galaga. Nice.
Bubble Bobble.
Bubble Bobble.
And
Almost.
I've
Great
never
co-op game.
played it.
Oh.
So I kind of like I'm almost interested just to play it.
Yeah.
But
you have to play it with 2 people too.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's fine.
single player it's not good, but two players, it's nuts.
Me and my buddy used to play it all the time.
But I've got all the Mario games, I've got the Castlevanias, I've got Metroid, I've got Pac-Man, I've got Punch Out. So I'm not really interested in it. Now, I agree with you, Kevin. I don't think it's going to be the Christmas item at the top of the 15-year-old gamer's wish list, but I would be surprised of how many gamers age, let's call it 4 to 8, that their parents that are our age go, hey, I'm going to get my kid into gaming by buying this $60 box that's got 30 games on it, these great lineup of games, and let's just let them start off with Nintendo. I think that's a great entry point, and then I'm sure it's going to be a great gift item. That was the one thing that I thought of when I saw. I was like, "Oh man!" Now I don't, like I said, I have no plans to buy one, and I'm not going to throw it on my wish list or anything. But I wouldn't be surprised if this popped up under the tree for me at Christmas. Like my mother-in-law or something would totally see something like this and be like, "Right down his alley." My biggest reason why I won't buy it, and I'll be honest with you, it's not because of the games or the system or anything. My biggest reason for not buying it is this is something that I would love to give to my kids, but my kids' TVs don't have HDMI. They do use the analog inputs, which is why they have older consoles on them right now. So without justifying upgrading to a new TV for the children, I'd probably bypass it. But I mean, it's not. the reason I'm not getting it isn't because it's not awesome. It's pretty cool. I'm glad that they're doing it. I think it's a neat product. I think it has a market. I don't think it's gonna, set the world on fire or anything. But it's cool. It's neat. I do think it's kind of something like one of those things you see like in a Sky Mall catalog, or like a Finger Hut something
What
or
is it?
another.
They had those battery powered little systems that play like Pac-Man or those other games that you can get at like Walmart and stuff like that.
And I know people went to the Sega well, but it's not the same, right?
No.
People love Sega for sure, but Sega went out of business a long time ago. In terms of in terms of hardware marketing, they're not out of business. But in terms of the Sega that you remember is no longer the Sega of today. Whereas Nintendo is still going strong, and they still have these games. And they're still part of the echo chamber, and that makes it a little bit different. Also, I would say, I've seen those little Sega consoles, and the quality looks terrible. Like they don't look like the quality that this looks like. For the price of a full retail game, I mean, there's a lot of value here. I think it's pretty neat. Who knows? I will tell you, Nathan, if what you're saying is, if I see this thing at Black Friday for like $20, I'll totally buy one. I'll find something to put it on for like, if I can get it for nothing. It's like I'm not gonna not buy it. But I'm not
perfect release date. They're gonna move a ton of these.
Oh yeah, I'm
not
wondering
pre-order one.
I'm wondering what the availability is going to be. That's what I'm a little scared of. If it's like, oh, we only made 100,000 of these, and like, they hit the U.S. and we're like, we need like 5 million of these things. Like, I don't know. I could see them selling a ton, but I'm kind of afraid of where it's going to be.
Like, it can't have like hardware wise. It can't have a lot of like,
here's my
components.
Here's my theory on this thing. I believe this thing is the Wii Mini with a new case. Like the size is very much the same way. Like I seriously think because the Wii Mini sailed terribly and it didn't have a disk drive and it didn't support internet, and that's why a lot of people like didn't like it. I seriously feel like all of these games are available on the Wii eShop if you have an original Wii, and that Wii Mini is like the right same size. I kind of feel like somebody was like, you know what? I can move those Wii Minis. Let's build a box around it. Let's give them this controller and let's put some games on it and we'll sell it.
That's true. I could see it too. So, I mean, if it's readily available and it's easy to get, I think this is a shoo-in for me. So, all right. So, not to talk too much just about the NES thing then. So, for you guys, when you think of nostalgic gaming, like what is the first console that comes to your mind? So, I know like for me, it's definitely the NES. That's where I started. But I know you guys didn't necessarily start off with the NES. So, let's go around and see like what would be the console for you when you think nostalgia. So, let's throw it to Nathan first.
When I think of nostalgia, honestly, and it's not really a console, it's the Game Boy, the original Game Boy.
Okay, that counts.
That's what I think of because, especially with, Pokemon Go being as big as it is now, I've been thinking about, back when I first played Pokemon. It was on the big, fat Game Boy, the original, that you took 4 AA batteries in the back and looked like junk on the front, you know what I mean? With the screen kind of having that monochromatic look to it. And where later on they came with the Game Boy Colors that had all these other cool things to them. But that is my, earliest and most dominant memory when I was playing games as a kid would be from Game Boy, because we had one TV in the house, and it was usually like my parents or somebody was watching like the news or something. So I'd go play Game Boy, and I'd play games like Pokemon on there. I played a Metroid game on there. I can't remember which one. There's a Super Mario World. Was that what it was?
Super Mario Land.
Land, okay. And there's just other ones I can't really remember. There was a great selection of games I had at one point. Obviously Tetris, but that's what I think of when I think of nostalgia in gaming is the Game Boy console and the tons of games and experiences that I had there, because you could take your Game Boy and go and link it up with somebody else and play Pokemon together, right? That was a great experience to be able to take that. That was like the first, go to school with your Game Boy, hook up with somebody else and play the battle against each other. That was fun. So yeah, for me, it's Game Boy as far as that goes as a whole. But if I think of console and nostalgia, I never, like I said, owned a Nintendo 60 or a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo. We did have a Sega Master, but I didn't really feel much nostalgia to that. Honestly, the first console for nostalgia for me is probably the 64.
That's cool. I can definitely see that if this NES thing takes off this holiday season, which I think kind of no brainer it's going to. I could see next year following that up with like a USB rechargeable Game Boy one, doing the same exact thing but having the Game Boy hardware.
Like a 2DS with
yeah,
yeah, I could
yeah,
too.
and then you just plug it in and go. I think that once again I would be all in for that too if they release that library. Super Mario Land, Super Mario Land 2. Where Wario debuted. I mean, there's a ton of great games
all
there
the
you can go back to.
Pokemons, Tetris,
Yep. I mean, there's tons of stuff.
Spider-Man.
Yep. Nathan said Metroid. All the franchises have had titles on there, so I think that'd be cool to revisit that too. So who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if next year they slip that in. So Jason, how about you? What would be your pick?
There's many good things I could ever have said about the Genesis. It would probably be the NES. That was my first, the first console I had. I got the triple pack that came with the Zapper, the Power Pad. And it had the two cards. I think it was 3 games in one. I had Super Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, and World Class Track Meet all on one cartridge that you could swap between. And that was my first game, and I had a ton of games for it. And looking back, I wish I would have kept that one. But I feel like once I got the Genesis, I think I had my mom. I'm pretty sure we donated it to. She works with she works for a nonprofit, and they do like a lot of community action. Help lesser fortunate families. So I'm pretty sure I donated it to a family in need. So I feel good about that. But I wish I would have kept that. So I got my dad snuck me my brothers when they stopped playing it. So, but yeah, just so many good memories playing like Ninja Turtle games on there and Battletoads and playing games with my cousins and just Tecmo, even that Tecmo Super Bowl, Double Dribble, so many games that I love playing on that and I just grew up with. But I mean, I really could consider with nostalgia gaming any of the games that I kind of played through my childhood. So, going through, the NES, the Genesis, the 64. I didn't get a Game Boy until the Game Boy Color. I got one of those, and I had Link's Awakening DX.
Yep.
I had that, and then I had the Metal Gear game that was for Game Boy Color.
Oh yeah.
Or was that? Or am I thinking that was Game Boy Advance? I think that was Game Boy Advance, wasn't it?
I'm not sure. I'll have to look up. I thought it was, but
I think I'm jumping it. But the NES for sure. I mean, just had I had the NES Advantage controller, their little arcade stick controller. I don't think I had any other peripherals besides that. I didn't have Rob or anything like that, but just a lot of great memories with that and Nintendo Power, getting that magazine and looking up and just how in the schoolyard and the playground, like, how it's just thinking back on it now with we have the internet, I can't imagine how things spread, but you always had friends like, oh, I heard at this level, if you do this, then this happens. And if you go into the title screen, there's this code you can put in and how word of mouth and how that stuff spread all through. Like, come on, when you first learned the Konami code for Contra, I mean, that changed your life. I mean, so for me, it's definitely the NES.
All righty. Donnie, how about you?
So mine's the Nintendo 64. It goes back to my childhood. When I was in foster care, foster home, I had brothers and sisters. We had a big family of kids, great family. Still love them to this day. And we all played it, and it was the perfect co-op game. And just the memories of playing wrestling with 4 controllers and GoldenEye with 4 controllers and Mario Kart with 4 controllers and all of us around the TV trying to figure out Zelda puzzles or trying to swap controllers every time we died in Super Mario 64 and competing in Wave Race and just all those cassettes. That's the one that ties at the heartstrings to me. That's the one that I always go back to. It also is a really great example of when I met my wife. We met in high school. Sophomore year, and for her birthday she never had any video games, and for her first birthday my gift to her was a Nintendo 64 with Mario Kart and Super Mario 64 and Mario Golf, and me and her sister and her played those games for like the next year. So on 2 different times in my life, maybe a decade apart, the Nintendo 64 represents really good times growing up. So that's the one that's got the nostalgia for me.
There you go. And Jason, you were correct. Metal Gear Solid was on the Game Boy Color. So It definitely was. It
Okay.
looked just like the Metal Gear ones that we had on the NES.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely was on there. So
was
before anybody
so-
emails us and was like, "You guys were wrong." Nope, it was on Game Boy Color. Year 2000, it was released.
It was so weird too because it like followed Metal Gear Solid story, but it had different enemies.
Yeah, it says reading on it, it was an alternate timeline of what happened after the first Metal Gear game. So it's not canon per se, but that's what it was intended to be, an alternate sequel, if you will.
Well, there you go.
All right, so moving on then. So guys, what if you could go back right now and be like, what nostalgic game for you that you want to go back and play again and again and again that you could just do right now? What would that game be? And we're gonna throw it to Donnie first this time.
The one I play every year, Ocarina of Time.
No,
Ooh.
that's right directly to the point. There was no thinking about that at all. So, Nathan, how about you?
What was the question?
If you could go back and play a nostalgic game like right now, and it's a game you'd want to play over and over again, like what would that one game be?
I honestly don't know. I wish I had a good answer to this, but I mean, this doesn't feel like it's old enough to be nostalgic, really. But the game that I would go back and play over and over again that I've bought in not hundreds, but at least 10 or so times is Knights of the Old Republic. And gone back and played that. You know, I played it on the original Xbox. I bought it on PC. I bought it on iOS. I bought it on Android. I mean, I bought it pretty much everywhere it popped up. So
What do you own more copies of, that or Final Fantasy VII?
Shaq Fu. He has more copies of Shaq Fu underneath his mattress.
I probably have more copies of KOTOR, honestly, than I do of FF7 because I've got Final Fantasy VII on my PC. I actually have two versions on my PC because it came out on Steam and I just would rather have it on my PC for Steam. So I got two PC versions and the PS1 disc version. Whereas I have the Xbox version of Knights, I have PC version of Knights, I have Android, iOS, and I have it's on something else, isn't it? Feels like it's on something else, and I think I got that too. So I think I have like 5 versions of it. But yeah. Knights of the Republic, man, it's a great game to go back and play, especially when I was on a plane. I booted it up on my phone. I just don't like playing on my phone. I liked playing that game, but I just don't like playing games like that on my phone. I really feel like I need a controller to really have fun with it, but it's fun. I love that game. It's great.
Cool. For me, I think it's definitely going to be the sports games from the NES days. So Jason and I talked a little bit about it before, but like the Blades of Steel, the Double Dribble, the Tecmo Bowl, I think those are great, and they all seem to be just timeless. Like it doesn't matter. You can go back to it and you don't miss a beat. So for me, I can go back to that. So
did you ever play the hockey game that Nintendo made, the one that's in like NES Remix and stuff?
Yeah.
I never played that. What is that one? Is it just called hockey? Or
I think it was just called hockey. Yeah, Blades of Steel was better, but I think it was just hockey.
All right, interesting.
But yeah, that's it for me. So I got one more nostalgic question for you guys, then, and then if you guys got anything,
I forgot to answer the last one.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Geez, I don't know if I could pick just one. So it's going to be like a quadruple death match between Mega Man 2 and 3, Star Fox 64, and oh shoot, what was my fourth one? Oh no, I lost it. It was on the NES too. Punch Out, because those are my favorites. And
yeah, you can always go back to that. That's true. That's a good one too. Nintendo NES. Can't wait for the fall. All right, so the last question I got for you guys, and then if you have any nostalgic questions, obviously throw it out there too. But for me, the last thing I had that came to mind when we were talking nostalgia was, do you think kids today will have the same nostalgic feelings like we have right now for our first consoles when they look back and see like the PS3 and Xbox 360 as their first consoles? And the only reason I ask is because considering everything right now is constantly being remade and remastered and re-released, like there's no gap of like, I haven't played this game in like 10 years, or I haven't been able to find this game in 10 years. So I'm kind of wondering what your thoughts are on that, if that same nostalgia will be there in the future, or if it's just going to, just kind of waver away. So for me, I don't know. I kind of asked the question because I'm kind of unsure about it, but
hold on, I still don't understand your question.
All right, so we can think back of NES, Genesis, SNES, and we have fond memories of
Nathan,
those
stop
games.
drinking.
Yeah, I know.
I can't.
I
at
got
this
the
point.
question.
So, these kids now coming out, the gamers now, their first consoles are like PS3s and Xbox 360s. So are those libraries going to kind of pull at the heartstrings like our original libraries do? Only because everything is being remade now, it's being remastered, so stuff doesn't really get old anymore. Final Fantasy VII is being brought back again, and it's like, how many times has that been remastered and re-released and stuff like that? So they don't get a chance to miss these games like we did, where we lost these games for years without being able to revisit them, and then now we're able to now. So
Okay.
it's kind of my thoughts there. So I kind of want to know what you guys think about it, because I honestly don't know how to feel about it, and that's kind of why I came up with this question. So now that hopefully you understand, Nathan, let's throw it to you first.
Well, actually, you were going to answer first. So I want to make sure I understand what you're asking again by listening to your answer.
All right. So the most I come with is I'm going to say no. And that's only because I don't see there being any titles that you will go back and be like, oh man, I remember that game from like 20 years ago, and not be able to get it. Like, when we got older and it was like, okay, the N64 days. So I had already had the NES, the SNES, the Genesis, multiple Game Boys, and the N64 came out. And then I'm like, man, I remember that game on the original Nintendo, and I'd like to go back and play that. And like, during that time frame, you couldn't get those games per se. That eBay really wasn't a thing, and there were like Funko Lands before GameStops and stuff like that, where you can get some stuff, but you really couldn't find unless you stumbled across it at like a yard sale or something. So, you really had to wait until the modern day now. We're like, oh, they've re-released these classics so you can get them. So, will kids have that same feeling? I don't think so, because everything's always constantly available to them. So that's kind of where I'm going with it. But I want to see what you guys thought. Do you follow, Nathan?
So can I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead, Donnie.
Take it.
Yeah, I think there will be, but I do think it'll be different. I do know that there are already kids like younger than me. I have some little nephews, and I got a couple cousins, and they're like 14 and 15, and I know one of them's 19, and I think they already feel like that nostalgia for like Halo. Like the Master Chief Collection was like a really big deal for them because they wanted to play the original Halo. So that definitely exists. I don't think it'll be the same. And one thing that I'd like to make is just how far we've come in video games in such a short amount of time. One of the things that I think makes us really nostalgic for games, we have these memories of games that were like just obtuse or broken, and it was all we had to play. So we played them forever. And I think that ties into a lot of it. And we also had games that are much simpler. They didn't have orchestral soundtracks, and they didn't have professional Hollywood actor voiceover, and they weren't these gigantic experiences and $1 million projects. We had Mega Man, and we had Bubble Bobble, and I think a lot of those aren't around anymore. I mean, you still get some of that with indies, but even the indie games today like just blow those away, and it's just a matter of technology advancing. It's just like with anything, cameras and photography and electronics. There'll always be those people, but it seems like the faster technology goes, the less amount of those people are on the tail end as there were on the front end, because the front end is where the majority of the discovery comes. And I think that's where a new avenue like a VR really opens up things. Anytime you give somebody something new, they become very nostalgic to that first experience, that first time they got a taste of it, and that exhilarating feeling. They'll never forget it, even if it becomes improved upon. That's where the N64 hits home with me. It was the first time I ever felt like I was in an open world. I had never really felt that before in that way, where I could zoom the camera around me and had full control movement of what I wanted to do. And even though it's been improved upon by leaps and bounds to what I play today, I'm never quite as impressed today as I was that moment, that first time that it happened. And I think that's where that discovery comes from, in the beginnings, that just isn't really there on the end. So I'm sure there will always be somebody that's nostalgic for something. I kind of, I would link like a game like a Resogun or a Castle Crashers. I doubt that stands the test of time and gets remade over and over and over again and is still around on the latest and greatest hardware 30 years from now. So games like that, people will grow to be nostalgic for later on. But that's it. That's my take.
All right. Jason, what's your take on it?
I think they will. It may not be for the exact same reasons, but I think you just naturally are for anything you grow up like playing or doing. It creates its own nostalgia around that, and I mean, regardless of the experience, I mean, I think it's just gonna happen. I don't think it's something that can be it's a natural occurrence. It's quick and easy.
Quick and easy. So, Nathan, are you prepared now to tackle the question before you?
I will give it the old college try.
Oh boy.
Which means drink. So, here's my thought, right? Games, when we get to the 360 and PS3, later in their lifespan, a lot of games became available digitally, right? Any game that's available digitally, I feel like will live on in perpetuity in some way or another. You'll be able to play that game in 20 years. But
Not NCAA football.
you can probably still play it, I'm sure. You just don't have the servers. But so servers, that's another thing. If it's reliant upon servers, once those servers go down, you'll never get that same experience. You'll never be able to go back and play like the original Xbox games on Xbox Live, or that experience that you had, unless you want to recreate live in some sort of LAN setting. But if you look at GameCube or something like that, right? A lot of GameCube games could be lost to this because none of them were digital. There's just a select few that have now been remade, but there's a whole catalog that can probably be lost. But I think that once you get past the GameCube and the digital availability on PS3 and 360, those games you'll be able to play in one form or another for as long as you want, as long as they aren't reliant on servers. But games that are like on the original Xbox, unless you have an original Xbox and the disc, you're probably not going to play those again unless, like you say, they're re-released in some fashion. So, if people come in on the 360 generation and that was their first console, odds are the games that they are nostalgic about will be playable whenever they want to play them. But the 360 is the beginning of that chapter. Like the original PlayStation, or PlayStation 2 even, and the Xbox, those are going to be chapters that are not readily available in the future.
See, you answered it dutifully, Nathan.
Woohoo!
So you had it there. So but that's all I have for nostalgia. So do you guys have any other questions you want to bring up, or are we moving on to some news?
I have a question for you.
Go for it.
So thinking back on all the platforms that you've played on, whether it be handheld, console, PC, whatever it is, and you think back to the I'm trying to figure out how to put this. Think back to the controllers that you used. Of the controllers that you used, which was your most favorite and which was your least favorite, and what game comes to mind most with that particular controller?
Okay. Got it.
So, Jason, you want to
go? Most favorite GameCube controller.
Yep.
Hands down. First game I owned for the console. I bought it with the console. Smash Brothers Melee.
Smash Brothers.
You can't go wrong there. Least favorite, Dreamcast. It's just weird to hold, and it just it was.
But the VMU.
Yeah, I like the Dreamcast.
Yeah, so you could pick my plays. Actually, and that funnily enough, that's what goes with it. But my favorite game to play on the Dreamcast, besides House of the Dead 2, NFL 2K. So good.
So, what about you, Donnie?
I'm right there with Jason. My favorite one is the GameCube. The games that come to mind are Smash and the Wind Waker. I actually just bought a wireless GameCube Pro controller for the Wii U, if you didn't know one existed. Well, I'll do a review this week on it. It's the one that I least like that I'm having a hard time with. I would probably say the 64, only because it's so jarring and different. Because I can't really say that there's a controller out there that I dislike. I mean, I don't like the PS3 controller, but that's not because it's a bad controller. It just kind of felt flimsy and cheap. It was really light, which I've never really enjoyed. I like my controllers to have some weight to them, and it was really, really light. But I mean, the control scheme, it's just SNES control scheme, 4-button layout triggers. I mean, it's something that's almost iterative. And to say that like I didn't like the SNES or the first PlayStation or the DualShock, it's kind of all the same controller. So it's really hard to pick one that I don't like. So I will go with the 64 only because it's such a different experience. Like having now just played it, probably for the first time in 3 or 4 years, picked it up out of the blue. You take that break and to go back in there, I mean, it is really jarring. You're like, wow, this was really different. I completely forgot how different it was.
It's hard to go back to, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and it's like riding a bike. I got it to it pretty fast, but I'm fairly certain the other day I was playing paintball mode in GoldenEye with my son, and I'm fairly certain I was better at that game when I was like 8 than I am now. Like I was moving around and I was like, you used to be good at this. Like I am not good at this anymore.
Is that why you kept slapping his controller over his hand?
Yeah, I gotta.
Okay.
Yeah, I need. He's learning it for the first time. Like he's got all the time to practice. Like I gotta even the scale at some point.
What do you think, Kevin?
Well, I'm going to sound like a broken record, and I'm going with GameCube as well. For me, it felt so different from everything else leading up to that point. The first game I had played on that would have been Luigi's Mansion, actually. So just using the dual C-stick type scenario things and the triggers, it just felt totally different than everything else prior to that. My least favorite, I really don't have a least favorite, but if I had to pick one, I'm going to make some people mad with this one. I'm going with the Xbox 360, actually. It just kind of... It felt odd to me coming from a PlayStation 2 and a PlayStation 3 prior to handling an Xbox. The buttons were slightly different and the triggers felt just wrong after being so used to PlayStation. So I don't think it's a bad controller by any means, but for me it didn't work just because I was so used to the PlayStation 1 that it just felt off a little bit. So, but Nathan, what about you?
So my current, I think that the Xbox One Elite controller is the best controller, but I'm looking at the nostalgic level. The first time I was really impressed by a controller, really wowed by it, is the Xbox original controller Type S. Because when that first came out, they had the Duke. They had that big controller, right?
Oh god, that thing was. Ugh.
It was a Dreamcast controller, pretty much.
I completely forgot about that.
Oh yeah, that was a terrible controller. I tried playing on that. It was. I remember playing Halo on that thing and being like, "This is terrible." But they released the controller S, and it was just so amazing, so good, so felt so good in the hands. I loved it. So that controller Xbox Type S was the first really impressive controller to me that I remember using. My least favorite controller, and I don't know if this is just because I was terrible at games. I'm still terrible at games back then, and I just didn't know how to play with it. But this Sega Genesis controller, I would always get bloody thumbs from that stupid D analog button on the left side. And it was just, I don't know what was going on. As you use it and your hand starts hurting, you're looking at it what? I'm playing Sonic and all of a sudden I got to go to the emergency room. No, I'm just kidding. But it's just one of those things where I don't understand why I was injuring myself playing the game, but that must have just been sharp edges or something on that particular controller. I just didn't like what it did to you. But yeah, so that's my least favorite is the Sega Genesis controller. But my runner-up for that one's probably the Dreamcast as well, from what you guys said.
Good old cool man, that GameCube. I forgot how much I loved that system.
Yeah,
it's a great controller.
I spent my senior year in high school. I had this. It was a computer tech class essentially, but we had a lot of free time where we could just mess around on the PCs there because we had Quake. We had Quake Arena. Network there. We had a bunch of other games. We'd play StarCraft and stuff. But I remember right before it released, there was a Dr. Pepper promotion, and you could play this Luigi's Mansion minigame. And every time you completed it, you get this entry in a competition to win the console. And I probably spent I don't know how many weeks just racking up entries to try to win one. I didn't win, but
I just want Eternal Darkness back or a sequel to that.
Wasn't there one getting crowdfunded or something? Or
yeah, I don't think they got it. I think it failed. So, but yeah, that's what I want. Bring it to me now. Anyway, so I think that can close up our nostalgia conversation for this evening. And now it is time to go to some news.
This week in Play Some Video Game News.
So, Jason, since you were just talking, what do you got for news for us this week? You first, sir.
Oh, my top story we've already talked about would be the NES retro classic thing, bobber, jigger, Dilio. But staying in the Nintendo vein, I haven't really read up too much on this, but apparently there's a pretty well-known YouTuber by the name of Metal Jesus Rocks. His real name's Jason Lindsay, and he apparently has acquired a US 64 DD system, which was the rumored, fabled add-on to the Nintendo 64 that would sit underneath it. It was like the disk drive add-on, essentially.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that, yeah.
And it looks like what he's got, it looks like it was like maybe a dev unit or a kiosk unit. I think it looks like the quote is, "You couldn't boot into the DD units hooked up for development."
I have
That's
no
a
idea
sign.
what they're talking about.
So, Donnie, who are your guests?
Go ahead. Introduce yourselves.
Make sure you include your gamer tag, or they won't know
Gamer tag?
or username, profile, what they know you as.
They don't know me as anything.
One at a time.
All right. My name's Brian Walden.
I know Brian.
Never heard of him.
What's
Never heard of him.
You might know me as Slew Gigs.
Slugs.
Yes.
Slugs.
Yeah. On Xbox and PlayStation, and a little bit on Nintendo. But that's me.
So, Brian, before we go any further, let's ask a little question of all your little guests over there, Donnie. What was your first gaming memory?
My first gaming memory. Oh, wow. Okay. That's a tough one. I think it would actually be the Atari, actually.
Nice. Putting Kevin to shame there.
I had an Atari. I said that. It just wasn't my favorite memory.
I didn't actually own the Atari. It was just...
You stole it?
No, it was...
It was in his neighbor's house. He was just playing while they're gone.
It was in the house. I think it must have been my brother's or something.
So your brother stole it?
No. But I remember playing... it was either Pitfall or one of those Space Invaders or something like that on the Atari, Centipede. But most of my gaming memories, I think, came a lot from arcades. So it's a really hard question for me because my gaming memories came from home consoles. They came from arcades. And so I played a lot in Chuck E. Cheese's and the pizza places all over, Pac-Man, and all of those gaming cabinets.
So your first gaming memory came with marinara sauce?
Pretty much, yeah.
Creepy dancing animals.
That too. And cardboard pizza.
Nice.
Sounds like Friday night to me.
That's right.
Very cool. You guys, Jason or Kevin, you guys got any questions for Mr. Walden?
Dude, what about me? They're with me.
Well, hey, you're there. We're not.
You don't get that question.
Who else is there?
The drama.
Also listen to the Play Some Video Games podcast. Just married to the games. Put you on the spot.
I have not.
Oh, you see, like, and he's dancing.
Get him off.
You see? I try not
started
to be
listening
adversarial
to
like that,
an
Donnie.
episode, but I had not finished it yet.
Oh,
So, I'm sorry, Donnie.
We just started.
I'm cutting all of that out of the episode.
Okay, well, we can hear you guys.
Everything's getting cut.
We're getting cussed out right now, Lord. Oh man.
All right, next man up.
Yeah, who else is there?
Yeah.
Wait.
What? Leave the youngest one last. The first memory's gonna be like everyone's
Wait,
gonna-
Halo?
No,
Halo.
it's gonna be Galaga, but
Uncharted 4?
Okay, this is Eric Baker, Lombax Whisperer.
Hey, Eric. I know you.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm sorry you know me.
Sadly gonna be sunny in a little bit.
Yeah, my son's here.
Sadly.
No, you drove, so it made me happy.
So, Eric,
Yes.
let's ask you the same question, and then we can ask your son as well. What was your first gaming memory?
I guess my parents bought me a Pong plugged into the television. I remember I was very, very young. It's probably the first gaming memory I have. Of course, I had the Atari 2600, playing games on that. And one of my most fond early gaming memories was I had one of the Pac-Man mini arcade cabinets. I don't know if you remember those.
It
Oh,
was
like the bar top ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like
okay.
it looked
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah.
It looked like the arcade cabinet.
Mhm.
I remember playing that one for hours on end, and in fact, I still have it.
Cool.
And of course, I was old enough. I actually got ET on the Atari. When it,
Did you keep it?
Buddy.
I also remember taking it back.
Didn't the guy like he made more and then he buried what he had in the backyard? His backyard.
So his copy was also in the landfill.
Yeah, I guess so.
Probably
pretty
everyone's just like, get rid of this.
Any other questions for Eric, you guys?
Well, yeah, let's go with Donnie's other question. Do you listen to us as well, or just NTTV?
I will start listening to this from this point forward.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, now. First time I walked in like an hour ago.
That's the first you heard. Yes.
First time in here or anything like this.
Cool. So, who else is in the room there?
My name's Jonathan Baker. I'm obviously his son, but you wouldn't know me as any gamer tag or anything like that. You wouldn't know mine. Haven't actually joined the forums or done anything like that.
Have you played any games on Xbox?
Yeah, I mean I have a game. Yeah, I've got an Xbox. I play all the time. I just haven't joined the forums or chatted or done anything like that.
Well, see, this is a good opportunity now. So you obviously haven't heard our podcast either. So just don't listen to Married to the Games. Just start with what we said. Let's just go this route.
I have to meet these people tomorrow. Like, you realize that. I have to see them and
Yeah.
touch them and say hi.
You
say
have to
hello.
touch us? I'm walking out of the room.
I'm not sure
I don't know
how
if
I
we
feel
wanna
about
be-
this.
I don't think we should be in a small room like this now. This room's pretty small.
So, Jonathan, what was your first gaming memory?
Probably Galaga.
Galaga. On Atari?
No, actually one of the it's newer, but it's not the only like stand-up ones. It was one with the bunch in it.
Nemco collections.
One of those.
Something like
That's what I'm
Okay.
guessing.
Okay.
probably something like that. And it had like tons of them, and I always like played Galaga and stuff on
Dig
it.
Dug and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I remember playing Dig Dug. That was a good game. That was good.
Cool. So, did your dad get you into gaming?
Yep. Yes, he did.
Was it a young, tender age?
Yes, I've been playing games for most of my life.
All the games you shouldn't be playing.
So, hey, here's a question I have for you then.
Hashtag best parenting.
Yes.
So to Eric and to Jonathan, what age did Jonathan start playing like M-rated games, and what was the first one?
I can answer this actually.
Well, we were talking about this earlier. He played the beta for Halo Reach. I guess how long has that been?
When it first came out, I played the beta right the first day it came out. I played it.
I was playing, and he played that.
Halo Reach.
That's probably from his first.
Yeah,
Game-
so I was
game-
about
It's about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
But the first
Yeah.
M-rated game that should be M-rated, because I don't see as Halo should be M-rated. It's not
I
really
agree
work.
with you.
Which would be first Bioshock, and I was about 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was the first one, and I remember talking to my friends, and they're like, "Oh, we got nightmares from this," and I'm like, "What are you? From what?" They're Bioshock. Why? They kind of looked like me. I was a freak.
Yeah, I still need to go back and play BioShock. I don't know what it was, but I never really felt drawn to it. When you played BioShock, did you only play through it once? Did you play through it again? What was your experience?
Like 5-6 times.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I played it. I got all the endings, but like harvested some, saved all, harvested all. Got both of those endings. It was worth playing. I loved the games. BioShock 1 and 2. Did not like Infinite.
And that was 2007. The first one was 2007.
Did not like Infinite.
Wow. Cool. Any other questions for the Bakers, gentlemen? I guess not. Donnie?
No, they said they don't listen. I'm done.
Yeah, see, Donnie, your job tonight and tomorrow
don't
is
poke
to
the
convince
bear.
people to actually listen to us. That'd be nice.
What I do is I'm
Buy
just
them
gonna
drinks.
swipe their phones and just go ahead and subscribe on their behalf.
Yes, go right ahead.
Just
That's
go
what
buy them all drinks after the show and be like, so let me tell you about something.
No. See, what it is, I've registered a table that we're going to sit outside of the building tomorrow at the Married to the Games 200, and I'm just going to say, hey, we're here to subscribe you to the Married to the Games new podcast. Let me see.
Oh,
That's funny. So is there anybody else?
Don't scare me away with all the Nintendo talk. So.
See, I feel bad because they always mention you. Like the last couple episodes are like, oh wait, we didn't even mention Zelda. We didn't even mention Nintendo at all. Donnie's gonna be pissed.
Glad to know that I'm the village idiot over here.
Oh no, not that.
That's okay. Sometimes he is over here as well, so it's all good.
Sometimes.
Because Kevin even wrote in. He was like, "Does Zelda count if you just didn't even mention it?"
Yep, I did.
All right, well, Brian, Jonathan, and Eric, thank you for stopping by.
Yes, thank you.
Oh yeah,
Thanks
no
for having
problem.
us,
Yeah,
definitely.
thanks for having us.
Enjoy the festivities, guys.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we can't wait.
Nathan, so now that we got hijacked by some MTTG fans, Nathan, what do you have for news?
So as far as me, there's always something that I'll bring to the news or bring up that's Star Wars related. You know that. You know that by this point. So, officially, starting July 21st, there's going to be an offline mode on Star Wars Battlefront.
Oh,
so
wow.
if you guys are been clamoring for some offline play, you'll have the ability now to play against bots and solo missions, or with a friend using co-op split screen. And that's only on the console. So there's going to be a skirmish that can be played with any difficulty level. So you can choose across two modes, and that's Walker Assault and Fighter Squadron, with different locations available. So it's going to be the first foray, I guess, to try to answer the lingering question, or people have been wanting the single player mode. So as a fellow player of Star Wars Battlefront, Jason, does this excite you?
No, I would have no desire to play Battlefront offline.
So who is this for?
For me, the Battlefront experience has always been online. I was never upset about the lack of bots or the instant action stuff.
I never was either, honestly. I mean, I think it would have been cool to have like a campaign mode with CG and everything and kind of scripted events, but
yeah.
I don't. This won't do anything for me. I don't believe.
No, I'm like, yeah. I mean, I haven't even played Battlefront in quite a while, so it's cool that I know a lot of fans are clamoring for that. So I'm glad that they're listening and they're getting that content they want. But yeah, just it's for shooters. I want, if with a multiplayer like focus shooter, I want that human element of competition. I don't want to just blast a bunch of bots and feel like Master Chief, you know.
Ooh,
What does the Emperor think about this?
It is most displeasing. I don't know. Is that what he thinks?
Oh, I'm afraid.
Oh, I'm afraid the console will be superior when your friends arrive.
What have I done?
What have I done?
Oh God.
Do you have anything else, Nathan, for news?
Addition to that, there's gonna be more stuff in September with the Death Star mode for season pass holders. But really, that's the only news.
Fully operational DLC.
That's pretty much it as far as the news that I wanted to cover for this week. I haven't really been able to keep my eye on the news sphere, but I just wanted to bring that up for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. So, as Nathan will always come with the Star Wars news, Kevin always comes correct with some Batman news. So,
what does that mean, correct?
You got street cred, Nathan. You come correct.
Well, you said I come with Star Wars news, and you said that you come with correct with some. I don't know. Okay, go ahead.
All right, you come correct as well.
Yay!
Okay, so Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment and Telltale Games today announced that the first episode of Batman: The Telltale Series will be released as a digital download in August, so coming really soon on consoles, PC, Mac, and iOS and Android devices. The series will then be available, this is what I find interesting, be available at retail outlets beginning September 13th as a special pass disc. The disc will have on it the first episode of the season and will grant access to download the subsequent 4 episodes as they become available in North America. So I think it's definitely cool giving you the whole experience. You still get to buy the disc because I'm not big on buying just the season pass, although this is kind of the same thing. You're only getting a physical copy per se of the first episode, but I think it's kind of a neat new twist to throw out there. Say, hey, you can buy the disc and it'll download the other episodes when they come out. But I mean, more exciting, we're getting Batman in August, so that's really cool that the Telltale one's launching that quick. Batman.
So
you
that's
want to get nuts?
episode.
That's
Yes,
one
the
of the
first episode will be out in August.
That's one of the news articles I pulled as well. I think it's very interesting that they're doing that. It seems odd, very odd to me that you would buy a disc that lets you play the first episode, and then you download the other episodes, but you still have to register. You still have to put the disc in to play the ones that you're downloading anyway.
I don't think so. I think just the first one.
Oh, so once you get the other ones, you take the disc out and you can still play them?
Yeah, it's like when you
I wonder if it installs the first episode to your console and you can play it without the disc too.
Maybe.
That even sounds weirder that you could play episodes 2 through 5 without the disc, but not the first one.
Well, that's what the Saints Row for the Reelected edition that I have. The game itself is on the disc, but you can download all the DLC for free. And then the Get Out of Hell was a standalone DLC you didn't need the game for, and you have to download that as well. So it's kind of the same thing, but it is a different kind of twist on there. But we shall see. I think it definitely will help them because it's always better for people who don't shop the online stores to have some sort of physical presence in a store. So even though it is definitely quirky, I agree with that. I think it'll just get it out there for more people to digest a little bit easier for them. But since Jason kind of got ambushed by the MTTG fans at the beginning of news, Jason, can you go back and talk a little bit about what you had said? I know you said a YouTuber and they had got a copy of a 64 DD.
So I haven't watched any of his clips or anything, but he's confirmed that he's planning. He's gonna. Oh, looks like he's actually gonna produce a video on it. But looks like it's what was going to be a retail unit for the 64 DD. Let's see. There's a blue disc picture in this image with it that came with it, although it doesn't actually work in the unit. Recently, I believe that's like a development cartridge. The key to this unit is that it seems to be a test retail build and it's not a dev kit. So, but at least it does actually, you can power it up and it's functional. So I'm not sure if I don't think originally these ever even made it Western at all.
No,
I think they were only just in development there and in the East for. Because wasn't it originally they alluded to it was going to be an add-on for Zelda and things like that. It would make. I just remember reading about it in various magazines back in the day. So a lot of my memory of what this add-on was even going to be is based on those articles. But
yeah, it was intended to make things much on a bigger scale to give kind of the Nintendo 64 more juice, and this goes along with my trauma of Mother 3 was one of the games that was supposed to be developed using the DD, so it had much more memory space and be able to create environments better. And that's one of the reasons it got scrapped from the 64 and then ended up coming out later on in the Game Boy Advance. But yeah, it's definitely kind of cool. Did he have any software he can play on it, or is he just going to plan on getting like the Japanese ones and hope it works?
Let's see. Let me pull up another article here. He's got a video proof of discovery. Video shows off one surprising quirk. The hardware is region locked, designed to load American 64 DD software that was never actually produced. So there you go.
So
There's
basically,
also-
we'll never know what it does because
Yeah.
there's nothing to use with it.
It's like there's just speculation of what kind of in development software might have been, but
Oh, that's
yeah.
true. We have seen some people recently release games that they had worked on, and kind of just pushed out anyway, way after the fact. So
Yeah.
maybe somebody will come forward and say, "Hey, well, we have this," and
Yeah,
kind of give it a shot.
It's
That'd be
cool
cool.
that in the past year we got this, and then we had the Nintendo PlayStation
Yep.
come out. So
It's always interesting. Did you have any other news you want to bring up tonight?
not really. I haven't been able to really stay on top of much. So
Can I actually
That's all right.
put one more piece of news in?
Go for it.
So September 13th, there's going to be a release of a Gears of War 4 Xbox One S. So it's going to be an Xbox One S that's not white. It's going to be red with Gears of War-ified logos and accoutrement. So check it out. It's going to be $450. It's going to be 2 terabytes, and it's going to come with a couple of Gears of War 4 Ultimate Edition.
Elite controller too, right, Nathan?
No.
No, I didn't think it came with that controller.
No, that's just a regular. It's the redesigned new controller that has Bluetooth and everything, but it's not the Elite Gears controller.
Okay. Gears is getting an Elite controller. It's just not coming with the bundle.
Correct. Yes.
Oh, okay. I just figured when I saw that bundle, I was like, oh, they're gonna throw that controller in. My bad.
No, not for $450. That'd probably be like $550 if they did that.
Right. Yeah.
They got money.
Yeah. All right. So last but certainly not least, Donnie, what do you have for news this week?
I got a couple things. One's really small, but I did think it was interesting. Smash Bros. 3DS outsold Wii U. I just thought it was crazy. I know 3DS has way more of an install base, and I got to chalk this number up to just that alone. But the games are great, but they're very different. And when you think Smash Bros, the new installment, like I think the resonance is with Wii U. Like it's a Wii U game, and I was just kind of shocked. Wii U sold 2 million in the United States. 3DS hit 3 million in the United States for 5 million copies sold in the United States. That's just domestic.
That's nuts. I can't imagine that. That's crazy.
Does that have to do with the install base largely?
That's the only
I could think of.
I will say this: I own both versions, and they are identical. I mean, the 3DS runs like a 3DS game, but it is a very competent version of the Wii U Smash on a portable. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were people out there that didn't own a Wii U, but they owned a 3DS, and they just more or less thought this is good enough. You know, because you get most of the stages, and you get all the characters, and a lot of the DLC.
I just can't. I just wouldn't want to try to play that game with the circle pad and everything.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too. I played the demo, and like I said, I think it's a very competent. I don't want to call it a port, but I think it's a competent, iteration of Smash Bros. But on a portable, I just don't see the appeal the same way as you can sitting on the couch playing and playing against somebody else in person kind of deal.
That's why we didn't get ice climbers because of that.
Before I move on to the next news article, I did want to ask you guys: did you know that you can play the Wii U version with your 3DS as a controller?
Yeah.
Yes, but I don't want to, so I didn't.
I just want to know because I think it's something my kids do, especially my daughter. She likes her 2DS. It fits her hands better than a controller. She's already used to the button scheme. I thought that was one of those engineering things that like nobody cared about. That it was like kind of amazing that why they did it and how they did it. They actually got it to work. All right. Next news article: GameFly listed Darksiders 1 remaster for Wii U, PS4, and Xbox One. I played Darksiders 2 on Wii U. I really enjoyed the game, and the moment this came up in the chat, Kevin informed me that Darksiders 1's the better of the two.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Darksiders 2 is not bad, but it is very different than Darksiders 1.
So if I enjoyed Darksiders 2,
you should love Darksiders 1 way better.
And I should get this for Wii U.
Well, you played the first one. You played Darksiders 2 on the Wii U, so you probably won't have any weird reactions. I played Darksiders 1 on the PS3, played Darksiders 2 on the Wii U, and it just didn't quite feel the same. So I think in your case, yes, go for it.
As I say, can I just slot it in as a game that I can buy for Wii U?
Yes.
There's not a lot of those around anymore.
This is true.
Okay. And then obviously the news of the week, of the last 2 weeks, has been Pokemon Go. And there's tons of articles floating around the internet of stories that this game is having. It's absolutely taken over the masses. And we do have one confirmed story in Fullerton, California, where somebody playing Pokemon Go in the middle of the night experienced their game freeze. And while they were trying to reconnect, they looked up and they were able to witness an attempted murder and bring a suspect to justice as a key witness for the police department nearby. They have since issued an alert to please don't play Pokemon Go in rough areas or neighborhoods or places you probably shouldn't be past 2 a.m. in the morning. But just one of the many news articles surrounding Pokemon Go out there in the wild. I honestly find reading some of these stories, whether they're fabricated or confirmed, more entertaining than the game altogether.
It's true. So to piggyback on what you said, and I'm not going to go down the weird stories type thing. The one article I did see that kind of jumped out at me that was a little bit different that I actually did really enjoy was they're encouraging, not they anyway, but there was a group of people, I forget what state it was in, but they were sending out messages across Facebook to kind of connect everybody, encouraging adult Pokemon Go players, the guys, like Q, myself, and that kind of played back in the day that are, back to playing it again because of that nostalgia, to kind of look out for the younger kids walking around playing, like in parks, stuff like that, because people are identifying, like you can go in a mall now and look at somebody and not be anywhere near them like that dude's playing Pokemon Go. So that also means bad people are able to do the same thing. So they're encouraging adults to kind of keep an eye out at Pokestops and stuff like that, and just kind of make sure that you're aware of your surroundings, because the kids aren't going to be paying as much attention. I just think that was a great message, and I know myself, having my kids are both playing it, I'm going to be doing the same thing and kind of keep an eye out for other kids and make sure everybody's playing and keeping it kosher and having fun with it, because we can see, and there's been some stories where we can see that this can go very, very wrong, and I don't think anybody wants that, certainly not Nintendo or Niantic. So yeah, if you're a Pokemon Go player like some of us are here in the crew, I encourage you all to kind of just keep an eye out for not only your own kids if you're playing with them, but other people's kids, and kind of just make sure everybody's safe.
Yeah.
And just before we leave Pokemon Go, old Brian Walden here, Slugs, has issued a challenge to Q and Mo to get up to his level. He is the Pokemon Go trainer to beat, as he's sitting here showing me his Pokemon, and there are many hundred levels, and he himself is at level 15. So, guys,
Q's already got him beat.
Oh, does he?
Q's higher than that. I don't know what Mo is, but Q's higher than 15.
He's got like 50 Pokemon. They're all like over like 600 and junk. Like, these are numbers I've never seen before.
Yeah, Q I think is level 18, I believe, is what I saw him last post. So he's beating you there. I don't know what the levels of his Pokemon are, but if you're that high, I would think your Pokemon are pretty high too.
Okay.
I just want to know, my city was having a downtown Grand Rapids late night Pokemon hunt tonight. I want to know how many people went. The Facebook group had 5.2 thousand.
Just like Central Park with the Vaporeon?
Yeah, exactly. Essentially. So, and I know they had reached out and they had already talked to the city police and let them know what they're planning. So they communicate that. And I think so the city would have, extra patrols around just so, people are safe. And you'd hate to see with that many people out that there's going to be, people trying to ruin it for others. But I'm interested to see what happens.
Cool. So I think that wraps up the show for this evening. It's been an interesting one, to say the least. So before we go, Nathan, is there anything you'd like to plug, sir?
Why, sure. Actually, I got a couple things. One thing is, this is pertaining to members of this podcast and a crossover that has happened. Mr. Lucas Rose, who may be familiar to you, Jason. I think you've met him before.
Yeah, once or twice.
Obviously, Lucas is the other half of the Fluxposed crew with Jason. And as part of a cross-promotional opportunity between all of us, Lucas wrote a review for me for a VR game for That's Entertaining. So the full review has been posted on that'sentertaining.net. But to let our PSVG fans and readers have a chance to look at it too, it's also been summarized a little bit on the Play Some Video Games site. And then if you're interested in completing the read, you can click through to check out the full article that Lucas wrote over at that'sentertaining.net. So a little bit of synergy going on over in the That's Entertaining PSVG and Fluxtaposed world. Other than that, there will be a brand new episode of That's Entertaining posting, well, in a few hours after I get off with this recording, but we're going to be talking about Star Trek Into Darkness as we venture toward Star Trek Beyond later next week. So that's what's going on with That's Entertaining, and if you want to follow me on Twitter, I am at Sith Nightmare.
Sweet. So actually, question for you, Nathan, before we move on. Are you planning on, by any chance, doing the Ghostbusters movies for That's Entertaining down the line?
Maybe the first two.
Okay. Wondering.
It's one of those things where this new movie, and for no reason other than it just doesn't look very entertaining, but it doesn't have the vibe that I want, and it's got nothing to do with an all-female cast or anything. But I mean, I'm not really beholden to the original Ghostbuster films by any means, but
sure.
I wanted it to be, a celebration and very reverent of the originals, but I'm not getting that at all from this one here. It can be a reboot, that's fine. I'll probably see it anyway. There's a theater nearby where I live now that's like got cheap movie tickets. At the most expensive, they're $6.50.
Oh wow!
So I might go check it out at my cheap theater here, or else wait until the the eventual Blu-ray release or something later on down the lines. But I haven't seen the original Ghostbusters in a long time, and I'm not opposed to it by any means, but it's just not high on my list right now.
Sure. I was just wondering, I introduced the movies to my girls recently, and they love them, and they're actually excited for this one, so I think I might maybe see it this weekend. I'm not sure, but I'm kind of the same boat as you. It's kind of like, I don't know if it's going to be good, but if they have fun, then that's all that matters. But yeah, I was just wondering if you were going to cover that on the show. So
not anytime soon.
Alrighty. Jason, what do you want to plug? You got anything?
Nothing out of the ordinary. Our website, our forums, our YouTube, our Twitch, everything PSVG. I have a podcast. You can check that out, fluxpost.com, and you can check out Nathan's podcast, and then you can check out Nathan's other podcast. And yeah.
Oh, hey, Jason, I saw an episode of Holocron Council posted this week.
Yeah, you know what happened? Funny story with that is I was posting, like, Lucas, we were a little behind posting up Flux post. He's like, yo, can you make the episode post when you get a chance? I was like, yeah, sure. 7 hours later, I was like, oh, I never made that episode post. So I threw it up before I went to bed Wednesday night. And then I woke up Thursday morning like, oh, why hasn't the feed updated yet? And I'm looking through. I'm like, oh, I posted it in the Holocron Council feed. And I don't subscribe to Holocron Council anymore, so didn't realize.
Womp, womp, womp. All right, so Donnie, any plugs on your end, sir?
Yeah, come visit us, playsomevideogames.com. I've been doing a bunch of work to the site this week. All kinds of stuff. We've got new backgrounds. We've got new menus. I've embedded a Twitch chat. So if you want to chat with the team and we're all on, you can do that. You will need a Twitch account. It's in the right-hand side of the menu. Review scores have returned to PSVG. We took them down because not everybody does reviews, but after I did all my pretty colors, I was like, man, I'm just really missing all those reds, blues, and Xbox screens across the page. So I threw them back up. Twitch and YouTube channels are there. Our forum is really, really kicking right now. We've got an achievement topics. We've got a Pokemon Go Trainers Corner. We've got what you're buying this fall wish lists. We've got your fall 2016 PlayStation to-dos. All these forums are jumping right now. They've all been posted into in the last couple of days by a bunch of people. So good conversation over there. Come join us over on the site. Subscribe to the forum. Chat with us in the chat room. All that good stuff.
Yeah, so you guys made it easy on me tonight. You covered pretty much everything. So I just want to thank you all for listening and continue telling a friend and spreading the good word. And give us a chance to, if you get a couple seconds, give us a quick rating on iTunes as well. I'd appreciate it. And it helps spread to more people like the infectious disease that we hope to be. And, all joking aside, I do want to wish a congratulations to the guys over at Married to the Games celebrating their 200th episode. We love you guys. And as we all know, if you've been listening since episode 1, it's because of them we're even doing this. So we have to give the nod to them. So good luck on the show, guys. Donnie, tell them all we said hi and have some fun. But more importantly, boys and girls, thank you. And, I really don't think you should ever stop gaming.
Thank you for listening to Play Some Video Games, the official podcast.
I am gonna go play Smash in somebody's hotel room.
That sounds
You're gonna go
erotic.
somebody in a hotel room?
That was exactly the way I meant that to come off.
Oh, and we have our stinger, ladies and
There
gentlemen.
you go.
boys
I
and
was trying. I'm
girls.
trying to help. All right.
Thanks, Donnie. Appreciate it.